Hi, Sunday School kids. Pastor Al here with our Bible lesson for this Sunday. And I want to tell you, I know we've read or listened to some kind of hard stories for the last few weeks. I want to tell you, I think while there are some hard parts to the story, then in a lot of respects, this is one of the funnest stories in the Old Testament to learn about. And I thought I would kind of therefore have a fun way to introduce all the people in the story. And it's basically about one big family and a whole bunch of brothers, and the dad's name is Jacob.
Centuries ago, not long after the Bible began, Jacob lived in the land of Canaan, a fine example of a family man. Jacob and sons depended on farming to earn their keep. Jacob and sons spent all of their days in the fields with sheep. Jacob was the founder of a whole new nation, thanks to the number of children he had. He was also known as Israel, but most of the time, his sons and his wives used to call him Dad. Jacob and sons, men of the soil and the sheep and crook. Jacob and sons, a remarkable family in anyone's book. Reuben was the eldest of the children of Israel, with Simeon and Levi, the next in line. Naphtali, Issachar, with Asher and Dan. Zebulun and Gad took the total to 9. Jacob and sons, Benjamin, Judah, which leaves only one. Jacob and sons, Joseph, Jacob's favorite son. Jacob and sons, Jacob and sons, Jacob and sons, Jacob and sons.
Okay, wasn't that kind of a fun way to learn a little bit about Jacob and all the different brothers? How'd you like to have a family that big? That's just the boys. It doesn't even talk about the girls. That was a big family. Well, and a part of the story talks about how this family, they have a little bit of a fight between the brothers. Have you ever had a brother or a sister that you were maybe a little jealous of, or that you maybe had a little bit of a fight with? If you had a brother or sister at all, I'm sure you did. But this was like one of the super biggest, nastiest fights of all time. And it works out pretty bad for a short period of time. But what you discover is that even though it wasn't a very good idea what they did, God had a plan all along. And God took something which didn't seem like a good thing and used it for not just good, but used it for a super amazing, incredible good that would affect all of world history. So go ahead and watch this story of Joseph, his amazing, wonderful coat of many colors that he was given, and what happens with him and his brothers, and what God does at the very end. It's pretty cool. And by the way, after the book story is done, I'm maybe going to slip in a little more of that musical just for you to watch, just for fun. So, hey, have a good Sunday and learn a little bit about what God has for us today, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
The Forgiving Prince. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all his sons, Joseph was his favorite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich, with all the colors of the rainbow. But it made Joseph's brothers jealous. They wanted rich rainbow robes too. Then, to make matters worse, Joseph kept on having these special dreams. I dreamed I was the greatest. I was king, Joseph told his brothers, and you all bowed down to me. Now, I'm sure you know, even if Joseph didn't, that telling your brothers things like that isn't a very good idea. So Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off him and sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and lied to their father, telling him that Joseph was dead. Now, that's the end of that dreamer, they thought. But they were wrong. God had a magnificent dream for Joseph's life, and even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use it all to help make the dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from home and from his dad. Then he got blamed for something he didn't do, and even though he had done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown in jail. But God had not left Joseph. One night, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth did it mean? He didn't know. But Joseph was a dream expert, so Pharaoh sent for him. "It means a famine is coming," Joseph explained. "There won't be enough food." Pharaoh was so pleased by Joseph's skill that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now, back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food and everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger. If they didn't get food soon, they would starve to death. So Joseph's brothers travelled to Egypt to buy food. They came and knelt before the new prince. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph, but Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, was coming true. "It's me!" Joseph cried. But when they saw it was Joseph, his brothers were afraid. They had wronged Joseph. They had sinned and they knew it. And now Joseph would certainly punish them. But Joseph looked at his brothers, and his eyes filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, he couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms around them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, God was doing something good. God was making everything right again." Joseph didn't punish them. He rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver. He would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God would use everything that happened to this young prince, even the bad things, to do something good, to forgive the sins of the whole world.
Joseph's mother, she was quite my favorite wife. I never really loved another all my life. And Joseph was my joy because he reminded me of her.
Through young Joseph, Jacob lived his youth again, loved him, praised him, gave him all he could, but then it made the rest feel second best. And even if they were
being told we're also rants does not make us Joseph fans.
but where they have really missed the boat is.
We're great guys, but no one seems to notice.
Joseph's charm and winning smiles failed to slay them in the aisles, and their father couldn't see the danger. He could not imagine any danger. He just saw in Joseph all his dreams come true. Jacob wanted to show the world he loved his son, to make it clear that Joseph was the special one. So Jacob bought his son a coat, a multicolored coat to wear.
Joseph's coat was elegant, the cut was fine.
The tasteful style was the ultimate in good design.
And this is why it caught the eye.
A king would stop and stare.
And when Joseph tried it on, he knew his sheepskin days were gone. Such a dazzling coat of many colors. How he loved his coat of many colors. In a class above the rest, it even went well with his vest. Such a stunning coat of many colors. How he loved his coat of many colors. It was red and yellow and green and brown and blue. Joseph's brothers weren't too pleased with what they saw.
We have never liked him all that much before, and now this coat has got our ghost. We feel life is unfair.
And when Joseph graced the scene, his brothers turned a shade of green. His astounding clothing took the biscuit.
Quite the smoothest person in the district.
I look handsome, I look smart. I am a walking work of art. Such a dazzling coat of many colors. How I love my coat of many colors.
It was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and
I look handsome, I look smart. I am a walking work of art. Such a dazzling coat of many colors. How I love my coat of many colors. It was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and fawn and lilac and gold and chocolate and mauve, cream and crimson and silver.